Um, there's something I've never understood about Woody Allen. Um, my mom died about a year and a half ago, so ever since then I've been saying that Woody Allen is my favorite human. Um, he's been one of my favorite directors. I mean, I've always said Francis Ford Coppola, Woody Allen, and David Lynch are my favorite directors for many, many years. I have a few more now, but I watched most of his movies. I think I've seen almost all of them. And watching them even as a kid growing up, he cracked me up. He was the funniest, smartest person I'd ever even heard of. And I'm not saying I'm smart or funny, but I would watch his movies and watch the character, basically himself, in all these movies. And he reminded me of me. He was just similar in, you know, personality. And I love the guy. I love his movies. I don't think anyone's ever been more intelligent or funny as a filmmaker. And he put basically a movie a year out, which is insane if you think of how prolific he's been. And it's just one of the all-time great titans of cinema. And so, back in the 80s, everybody knew that he was in a long relationship with Mia Farrow. And I wasn't sure if they were married or just dating, or apparently they just were a couple and they didn't even live together, I guess. But everybody knew they were together. So, they might as well have been married as far as people saw it. And because they had been together for such a long time, he put her in several of his movies. Outside of those movies, I only saw her in Rosemary's Baby, which, spoiler alert, in that movie she gives birth to the Antichrist. So they were a couple. And then in the 90s, when I was in college, I was actually in college in New York, there was this huge story because they were breaking up and going through a custody battle. Now, what had happened was, um, Soon-Yi Soon-Yi, see, things get tangled up. Mia Farrow had adopted a lot of kids, and she'd had some kids in the past. And she and Woody, they did not live together, but they ended up having a son who at the time his name was Satchel. And that was Woody Allen's only biological kid. Um, she had adopted the kid we now know as Dylan Farrow on her own, I guess, and then Woody had also adopted Dylan. I don't remember what her name was before, but so they had the two children. The person we now know to be Ronan Farrow, who was Satchel, who was supposed to be Woody's biological son, and this adopted kid, who we now know as Dylan Farrow. Okay, so there was that big custody battle. All the horrible allegations came. Whatever, whatever. Time marched on. We think everyone forgot about anything, but every once in a while, they dust off the allegations to try to drag Woody Allen through the mud again. And, like I said, life continues. He comes out with more incredible movies. And if he gets an Oscar buzz, here come the allegations again, and just over and over and over again. So, at some point, Mia Farrow does an interview with one of these magazines. Now, these two children, the only two children they shared, are adults now. Mia Farrow does an interview with some magazine or something where she comes out with the story, oh, you know what? I think Ronan is actually Frank Sinatra's son. Now, like I said, these kids are adults at this point. Um, This story comes out at a time where Frank Sinatra's long since passed away. His wife, Barbara Sinatra, was probably much older, and I don't know if she knew any of this or if she learned of it by way of this news story from Mia Farrow, and it makes you wonder why now. But if we think about it, what that means is that at some point in the 80s, when Mia Farrow was known to be in a long-term relationship with Woody Allen, who put her in his movies repeatedly, and they were known to be together by everyone on the earth who knew who Woody Allen was. She was cheating on him with her ex-husband, Frank Sinatra, who was married to another woman, Barbara Sinatra. And when she became pregnant, knowing that she was cheating with Frank Sinatra while apparently still sleeping with Woody Allen, she allowed Woody Allen to believe that the person we now know as Ronan Farrow was his one and only natural born son. I don't know when and if he found out that wasn't true before she decided to tell the world that she was sleeping with Frank Sinatra while she was sleeping with Woody Allen, and she did not care that he had a new wife or another wife, and she did not care that she was in a serious relationship with Woody Allen, and she did not care that she was now pregnant with somebody's kid. And anyway, so she was able to then go on to discredit and besmirch Woody Allen by way of the allegations that he abused Dylan Farrow. And this all went on, nobody knowing anything about her continued arrangement with her ex-husband, Frank Sinatra. And all those years go by, and she comes out with a story, and somehow it's normal to people that a woman would have a baby, let the boyfriend, basically almost a husband, believe it's his only child, only biological child, knowing full well could be her ex-husband's too. Comes out with that story, like I said, when the ex-husband's long since dead, his wife was still alive. And just because, I don't know, she felt like putting her old business in the street, she felt like making this old woman sad, you know, because she felt like rubbing Woody Allen's nose in it one more time. So my question was, the thing I didn't understand about Woody Allen, he was so smart, and nobody would ever doubt his mental acuity. How did he end up in a long-term relationship with such a treacherous woman who was clearly from the streets? It baffles me.